Alrighty guys, welcome back to Hip Hop Flash. Up next, we have the rumors surrounding Kendrick Lamar dropping an album soon, and they have reached their loudest point yet. Someone is claiming that the album is coming soon and that it will have a boxing theme, causing excitement and pure pandemonium among fans, while also making Drake stans do what they do best, crash out. Plus, we also have Stax Glow and Company Man speaking on the possibility of a new album. We also have a clip where someone is trying to push the narrative that Kendrick Lamar is ducking interviews, which is crazy because Kendrick Lamar has definitely done his fair share of interviews. Let me know in the comments if you think he's ducking interviews. As for this potential Kendrick Lamar project, the excitement is at an all-time high, but so is the hate. That's wild because Drake stans were just claiming that Kendrick Lamar never gets criticized. I could honestly argue that he's one of the most criticized rappers, so I completely disagree with that narrative. We're actually going to see both sides of the conversation as we go through some of these comments. Let me know what you think about the claim that Kendrick doesn't get criticized, and whether you think it's fair or unfair. I will say this though, once you put your art out there for the world to consume, it's open to both praise and criticism, whether that criticism is fair or unfair. With the confirmation that more Kendrick Lamar music is on the way, thanks to DJ Dahi confirming the feature, people are getting excited because they believe this could mean Kendrick Lamar is gearing up for another run. Of course, this could also just be a one-and-done feature, and who knows when we'll actually get the next album. Still, there's a lot of excitement surrounding this project. Let me know in the comments if you expect another legendary run from Kendrick Lamar. This latest tweet has taken the album rumors and anticipation to the highest level we've seen all year, as if the hype wasn't already through the roof. The tweet claims that the project will have a boxing theme and that it's coming soon. If this boxing theme rumor is legitimate, then it means Kendrick Lamar has been dropping hints all along, including the hand wraps he wore at this year's Grammys. I'm also pretty sure everyone remembers when he compared himself to Terrence Crawford. I'd love to see this concept play out because I love boxing. Let me know in the comments if this rumored theme gets you excited for the direction of the album. So enough delaying, let's jump right into these videos and posts covering the rumors surrounding Kendrick Lamar dropping an album soon. The rumors are louder than ever after someone claimed the album is coming soon and will feature a boxing theme, creating massive excitement among fans while making Drake stans crash out once again. We also have that Stax Glow and Company Man clip discussing the possibility of a new album, along with another clip where someone is trying to push the narrative that Kendrick Lamar is ducking interviews. Let me know how you think the culture would react to this potential project. Personally, I think it would immediately become an Album of the Year contender, because that's usually what happens whenever Kendrick drops. If it does happen, are you excited for the tour that could follow? I know I'd definitely be there. Right here is the infamous tweet. It reads, "Kendrick Lamar is dropping soon. Project is boxing themed." Again, people are pointing to several images as evidence that this rumor might actually be true. Let's take a look at some of the comments because we already know the dodo birds are going to lose their minds over this. "Tell them to keep that on the laptop, man. We remember you." Come on, fam. Someone said Drake dragged the beef, but you can't seriously say that when Drake literally built the whole Iceman rollout around Kendrick Lamar. If you actually listen to the album, around 50 to 60% of the bars reference Kendrick Lamar, the beef, and the fact that he's still not over it. Meanwhile, Kendrick hasn't really said much about the beef in a long time, so it's hard to argue that he's the one dragging it. We good off that. Bro, let me know if you agree. Are you good on this project, or are you actually looking forward to it? Look, his biggest fans are always in the replies. I completely agree. You can keep saying someone is irrelevant or that nobody listens to them, but you can't make that argument while commenting under every single Kendrick Lamar post. Kendrick hurt these feelings so bad. Exactly. Just like some people never got over it, they'll probably never move on. First he was Jesus, then he was a blood, now he's a boxer. What's next? An astronaut? Some of these people are legitimate buffoons. Guess what? David Bowie wasn't actually an alien. Artists use costumes, themes, and symbolism. This is art, and everything serves a purpose because it helps build the atmosphere around the project. This is all part of the art. No one is surprised at the theme because we know he beats his girlfriend. The same people demanding that Kendrick provide evidence while ignoring that the allegation has never been proven are also the same people ignoring the fact that the claim about him not being the father of one of his children has never been proven either. Let's see what he can do now that he's used his last card to stay relevant. They're saying this about someone who has been one of the biggest artists in music for years. He already broke the record for the highest-grossing rap tour before any of this beef happened, and he did it with Mr. Morale, an album they constantly claim not to respect. No one left for him to diss for promo. Meanwhile, Drake has been dissing many of the same people for the past 2 years. Like I always say, you can't use facts and logic to change the minds of people who didn't use facts and logic to form their opinions in the first place. Have you heard Kendrick Lamar? These people act like there aren't countless clips from Drake shows. When you're a mainstream superstar at that level, you're naturally going to attract a very diverse audience. Very soon, May 21st soon, July 9th. That's coming from the same people who kept saying Iceman coming soon for over a year. Haven't listened to Kendrick for a while, but I think this could be interesting. Looking forward to it. This project would immediately shift the conversation towards whatever Kendrick is preparing to release. They about to give him another Grammy for Mid. You might be one of the biggest dodo birds yet. Let me know in the comments if you think any of Kendrick Lamar's awards have been undeserved, not just the Grammys, but any award at all. Makes perfect sense. This is something he's going to talk about when he boxes Whitney's jaw. These are the same people making fun of what Kendrick fans supposedly look like. Kendrick about to nuke the culture again. Last time he nuked it, the culture almost died. Meanwhile, they're acting as if Drake has been one of the most consistent artists for the past 2 years. He's released more than 40 songs across 3 different projects. Here's the funny part. That narrative doesn't even make sense. When Kendrick Lamar returned with Like That, he actually revigorated the genre. Before that, hip-hop had honestly... They've been suffering a decline in market share that they hadn't experienced in over 20 years. I've got a bunch of hits on my hands. See the swollen knuckles? Soundtrack to Creed 4 loading. That would honestly be amazing, because one thing you can always say about Kendrick Lamar is that he takes soundtrack projects just as seriously as he takes his albums. The Black Panther soundtrack he put together was incredible. It's a project that many people don't include in his discography, even though he personally crafted it and was heavily featured throughout. It'll probably be a single line loosely related to boxing, and in 2 months you all are going to freak out and think he's right. Let me know in the comments if you think this boxing theme could actually be real. Here we have Dave Free's story showing the hand wraps. What is that even supposed to mean? These comments are coming from people who seem a little too dense to understand themes, symbolism, and visual imagery. For those who struggle with those concepts, this could simply be another clue that we're getting a concept album centered around boxing. Of course, it's still only a rumor, but it's amazing how one small post gets so many people worked up. It really shows how much hate some Drake stans have. With reactions like these, they're projecting the exact same behavior they accuse Kendrick fans of displaying. I genuinely have no idea what this could even sound like. They're acting as if the production is going to consist of punching noises and people hitting the canvas. A boxing theme doesn't mean the music literally sounds like boxing. It simply means the imagery and creative direction may revolve around the sport. Now he wants to be Muhammad Ali. Meanwhile, your guy wants to be the Iceman. The boxing theme was arguably teased at the last award show when Kendrick appeared with the taped hand. Considering it was only one taped hand, it could even be a visual reference to Michael Jackson's iconic Single Glove. Scary Hours 4 dropping the same night. That project would probably get stopped immediately. Dumb Little Boy is about to find out what happened the last time they dropped on the same day. Let me know if you remember exactly what happened the last time. Can you tell us anything about the features on Future's album? One thing is certain, Drake wasn't on it, and a lot of Drake stans completely crashed out over that fact. 2026 has been so great, and now here comes this trying to ruin everything. What's funny is that Kendrick dropping would generate an unbelievable amount of conversation. The same people hating on the project will be the first people reacting to it. It would be hilarious if Spotify Wrapped arrives later this year and Kendrick Lamar ends up being their most played artist, just like what happened with Academics. It's cool seeing Kendrick being treated like the villain. Even though 2024 was basically a side mission, I think Kendrick will embrace some of that villain role. That's simply what comes with being number one. Everyone is waiting to judge whatever comes next, whether it's good or bad. The same applies to Drake and J. Cole. Everything those artists release gets heavily scrutinized, regardless of quality. As long as you're living up to the expectations, that criticism isn't really a problem. I've been cool off him. When is Scary Hours 4? Isn't this supposed to be that rock album with a boxing theme? I heard that leak years ago. Did these people not listen to To Pimp a Butterfly? That album featured rock influences, funk influences, jazz influences, and much more. I mentioned this in my previous video, but there's a reason Kendrick takes so much time creating his albums. Every project introduces a new sound and a new artistic direction. Here we have more images, and honestly, I'd love for this boxing theme to become a reality. We have the Dave Free photo. It would be dope if all of these clues actually connected and the rumors turned out to be true. Squabble up. It's about that time. It would honestly be hilarious. I know a lot of people are still hoping for a music video for TV Off. Kendrick's new album will be boxing themed. These boys dress up and think they're somebody. It's like Comic-Con. Kendrick's lyrics continue to age like fine wine. These rappers stay wishing they were somebody else. Meanwhile, Drake has been acting like somebody else for a very long time. Some people would argue it's been most of his career at this point. The Elohim is coming. Bodies dropping. If boxing really is the theme, I wouldn't be surprised if Terrence Crawford appeared in one of the music videos. They've already worked together before, and it would be really cool to see him involved visually in this project. Kendrick is 100% dropping an album in late 2026 or 2027. This DJ Dahi feature confirms that Kendrick is still active. The idea that he isn't creating simply because he isn't releasing music couldn't be further from the truth. Just because an artist isn't dropping songs doesn't mean they're not spending time in the studio. We've heard plenty of artists say Kendrick Lamar practically lives in the studio. I'm really excited for this. As you can see, plenty of people are excited. But, as always, whenever Kendrick Lamar is involved, the haters show up in large numbers. Kendrick's album is going to flop. I already heard 2 songs and they both missed. Alright, coming from someone who literally has a 6 in their username. You're just making things up. What does boxing themed even mean? Boxing has been a recurring theme throughout hip-hop history. Let me know whether you think these commenters are actually hip-hop fans or simply Drake stans. Comments like these only reinforce my belief that many of them aren't genuine hip-hop fans at all. They're simply Drake fans. Shout out to Certified Boogeyman, a longtime friend of the channel. He had tape wrapped around his hand at the Grammys and posted things hinting at this. You might be right, but this isn't exactly new information. That's true. These rumors have been circulating for quite a while, and people immediately started discussing the taped hand when those Grammy photos first surfaced. Nobody wants to admit this, but hip-hop was dead until Drake dropped The Iceman. Like I mentioned earlier, before Kendrick Lamar returned in 2024, hip-hop's market share had already fallen by more than 20% compared to the previous year. Whether some people want to admit it or not, Kendrick helped reinvigorate the genre. J. Cole tried but failed. He dropped an album with no hit songs. Kendrick disappeared after the Drake hate train stopped working. He literally finished the highest-grossing rap tour of all time a little over 6 months ago, a record he has now broken twice. Artists are allowed to take breaks. Not everyone is locked into contracts that require releasing 2 or 3 albums every year while touring non-stop. Hip-hop is finally back in a place where artists are excited to release music again. Kendrick Lamar almost turned hip-hop into a moral class. These are the same people who criticized records like TV Off and Squabble Up, and now suddenly they're claiming Kendrick only makes moral lectures. These narratives constantly contradict themselves. Drake fans aren't like Kendrick fans. We don't hate listen to music. Honestly, I don't even think some of them enjoy listening to music at all. We've literally seen clips of people complaining that they're exhausted from listening to Drake's constant releases. Kendrick had to bring one of the biggest R&B stars in the world as his co-headliner to perform in stadiums. Someone immediately responded by pointing out that Kendrick sold out stadiums even when SZA wasn't performing. Remember, you're not going to convince these people with logic or facts. They have access to the exact same internet, the exact same videos, and the exact same evidence. These are the same people who claimed the stadiums were empty, only for videos to appear a few hours later showing completely sold-out crowds singing every single lyric. And then the very next day, they repeated the exact same narrative all over again for the next show. The gap between Kendrick Lamar and your favorite rapper usually becomes obvious on the second listen, not the first. Many times, it's obvious on the very first listen. I'm genuinely excited for what's coming next. Speaking of upcoming music, Kendrick Lamar's feature on DJ Dahi's upcoming album will also include Ambra Mark, and the track is reportedly titled How to Pray.
I'm definitely looking forward to hearing that record. Now let's get into the clip I mentioned earlier.
Now let's get into the clip I mentioned earlier in the intro, where someone is trying to push the narrative that Kendrick Lamar is ducking interviews while staying connected to his day ones. The post reads, "Is Kendrick Lamar ducking interviews with the culture he represents while staying connected to his day ones?" Critics question his absence from prominent platforms. Does the voice of the culture have a duty to engage with it, even if it's not on his terms? You can't really make that argument when Kendrick has already appeared on some of the biggest platforms. At the end of the day, he can choose how he wants to approach the media. This reminds me of when people complain that he doesn't post enough on social media. But here's the thing. When he drops music, he delivers. When he performs, he delivers. Sometimes it feels like these people expect Kendrick Lamar to post 5 Instagram stories a day and upload duck face selfies just to stay relevant. Let's check out the clip. At what point do we have to start criticizing Kendrick for not doing interviews? I'm going to say this again. I know a lot of people want to claim it's Drake, but you could easily argue that Kendrick Lamar is actually one of the most criticized rappers considered to be a voice of the culture. People criticize every other rapper who moves the way Kendrick does. He disappears, stays mysterious, and only pops out when he wants to. Michael Jackson did the same thing. We call him the voice of the culture, but we don't really see him talking to the culture. He speaks through his music, and that's exactly why so many people connect with it. Even then, Kendrick still does major interviews and appears on major platforms. Music is simply the way he communicates best, and that's perfectly okay. He does pop-up events in Compton. He visits schools. He still spends time with his day ones. But when it's time to sit down on platforms, even TDE-affiliated platforms like Apollo, we haven't seen it. The reality is he doesn't have to do any of that. MacWop is TDE's DJ. Schoolboy Q knows him personally. Sure, but Kendrick Lamar is with PG Lang now. Even so, he continues showing love to TDE. He's present at their Christmas drives, collaborates with their artists, and continues helping showcase their talent. What more are people expecting him to do? Honestly, it feels like this person simply wants Kendrick to appear on their favorite podcast. MacWop posts old pictures of Kendrick from before he became famous, and Kendrick hasn't come on. I look at it differently. Kendrick has said multiple times that he's not our savior. We don't need to hold him accountable simply because he chooses to move differently. If he wanted to appear with someone like MacWop, that's his decision. But if he doesn't feel aligned with someone's content, why should he go there just for the sake of it? Finally, someone in the discussion made a logical point, and I completely agree. People keep saying that's just an excuse, but it feels like Kendrick only pops out when the money's involved. I don't really agree with that either. I seriously doubt Kendrick attended his old high school because someone paid him to do it. People from our culture don't have the money to pay him. I understand that point. If platforms like 85 South don't have the same budget, shouldn't Kendrick still support the culture? You already have the money. Appearing on those platforms could change their future. That argument honestly comes across as entitled. Go do Vogue, go do GQ, get your money, but at the same time support the culture too. Here's the thing though. Drake has done interviews with plenty of people outside the culture as well. Someone even mentioned that Kai Cenat probably wouldn't have reached his current level if Drake hadn't reached out early. Even then, I look at that the same way I look at the Migos. Kai was going to become successful eventually. The Migos were already building momentum before Drake ever collaborated with them. Who has Drake actually sat down with from our culture? That's a fair question. Outside of major outlets like Big Boy, Drake really hasn't done many interviews with culture-focused platforms either. His rise happened before the podcast era exploded. As for helping artists, sure, Drake has collaborated with many people, but that doesn't mean he created their careers. Many of those artists already had momentum before Drake worked with them. People are saying the same thing now about Molly Santana. Yes, a Drake feature is a huge opportunity, but Molly Santana was already gaining attention. She earned that collaboration through the work she'd already put in.
If you're going to criticize Kendrick Lamar for not doing certain interviews, then you have to hold Drake to the exact same standard. People keep saying these artists are the kings of hip-hop, so the expectations should apply equally. Kendrick has also put plenty of artists in the spotlight. The GNX album alone introduced several artists to the biggest audience of their careers. The same thing has happened throughout Kendrick's catalog. Many featured artists weren't household names before appearing on his albums, yet they found themselves on some of the biggest projects released that year. At the end of the day, for some people, it will simply never be enough. I completely agree with that point. If you're going to criticize Kendrick Lamar, then hold Drake to the exact same standard. Just like nobody should tell an artist who to collaborate with, when to create music, or how to make it, nobody gets to dictate who an artist chooses to sit down with for interviews either. That's just not how it works. Before wrapping up, let's look at a few comments. Ducking interviews for what? Most of these people are compromised anyway. Big shout out to Eve, another longtime supporter of the channel. I agree. Which platform should Kendrick even choose when many of the biggest platforms already dislike him? Drake mostly talks to white streamers. If Kendrick accepted those invitations tomorrow, those same platforms would gladly welcome him. It's all an act. PG Lang doesn't let him do interviews because he might ruin the character they're building. What character? Whenever I watch Kendrick's interviews, especially the Apple Music interview, it genuinely feels like he's just being himself. He's not performing a character. And remember, he's not even signed to Top Dog Entertainment anymore. It's funny seeing people defend Kendrick for not doing interviews after criticizing others for the same thing. Personally, I don't care. I'm a fan of the music. Artists don't owe me interviews. The music is what matters, especially when Kendrick communicates so openly through his songs. He's always been incredibly transparent in his music. And let's not pretend he hasn't done several interviews over the last couple of years, along with numerous award show speeches. He's not for the people. How can anyone honestly say that after everything Kendrick has done for his community throughout his career? That argument falls apart immediately. He's just an artist. He doesn't owe anybody anything. Buy the music, buy the concert tickets, or buy the merch, or don't. You're not buying access to his personal life. I completely agree. Another huge shout out to Bala, who's also been an incredible supporter of the channel. Artists don't have to do interviews. Kendrick still chooses to do them, just on his own terms. And you can't argue with the results because he's been unbelievably successful doing things his way. Now, let me know what you think. Do you honestly believe Kendrick Lamar is ducking interviews? Personally, I can't agree with that claim, because we've seen plenty of interviews from him over the last couple of years alone. Also, let me know what you think about the rumored album. The rumors have been circulating for quite some time, and as we can all see, the conversation surrounding a possible Kendrick Lamar album has become the biggest topic in hip-hop right now. What do you think about the rumored boxing theme? Personally, I'd love it. I'm a huge boxing fan, and boxing imagery fits naturally within hip-hop. For those asking what does a boxing theme even mean, I'd argue they're missing both the literary and musical symbolism because artists have been using this type of imagery for decades. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to Hip Hop Flash. I truly appreciate every single one of you for making this channel part of your day. The love and support you continue showing every day honestly means the world to me, and it's one of the biggest reasons I continue making these videos. I also want to give a huge shout out to everyone who has joined the YouTube membership. It's a small way to support the channel, but it makes a tremendous difference. Another huge thank you goes out to everyone who has sent super thanks. Your support has been absolutely incredible, and I truly can't thank you enough. If you'd like to continue the conversation, be sure to follow me on X. The link will be available in the pinned comment and in the description. That's also the best place to send news, clips, or videos you'd like me to react to here on the channel. I'm really looking forward to hearing your thoughts on these rumored album rumors. Let me know what you think. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one. And if Kendrick Lamar really does drop this album, a lot of Drake stans are going to be extremely upset.